I've played 5 hours of Space Marine 2, and I've been playing at the 3rd difficulty, and I'm going to be talking about my first impressions of the single player campaign. What stands out to me is the set piece battles. You have tons of enemies on screen, and I'm really surprised they can pull this off. But then when you start seeing the enemies go into big piles, it's like, wait a minute, this looks very familiar, and it turns out Space Marine 2 is using the same engine that World War Z uses, where it's got that Horde technology. So that was where I was seeing it from. I had to look this up to check it out. But it is impressive. You enter these wide areas, sweeping areas, we see tons of enemies swarming towards you. It looks very cool, and you start unleashing the weight and heft of your Space Marine firing a bolter at the enemies feels amazing, and when the enemies close in from range, you then switch to your melee options, and hacking and slashing your way through them is very good. You've got tons of light enemies, and then they throw in the medium enemies because you can't just defeat them super easily. You have to dodge out of the way, wait for them to parry attack. It can get a bit hectic on screen, like sometimes you are really in the thick of it and your entire screen is just covered with enemies. It can get a little difficult to read, but honestly, from a 40k perspective, this is exactly what Space Marines are doing. They are knee-deep in absolute blood and guts of enemies as they're ripping and tearing their way through. Space Marines are mobile tanks, essentially, but they're also super nimble. The world of 40k is fascinating. I've read around 20 40k books. I'm not so much interested in the tabletop, but I love the absolute lore and setting and reading material about the universe. Seeing that universe brought to light in AAA quality is amazing. I enjoy walking around the ship. The set piece battles, they work exactly how I think they work in the books. That's how I'm seeing them recreated in the game. Skyboxes, beautiful. Backgrounds within the levels, beautiful. I love the settings. I am extremely biased to 40k, so I'm probably rating this higher than someone that doesn't know about 40k approaching this as just a hack and slash and shooting game. But for me as a 40k fan, this delivers. I played the original Space Marine, and this is basically just more of that game. Except that game is a little bit dated now, the graphics don't quite as well hold up, but I played Space Marine 1 before I was a fan of 40k, and I enjoyed that game, and it was one of the games that led me down the path of diving into the 40k universe. And I think Space Marine 2 is going to be a launching pad for many new fans of the series to go and enjoy more 40k content. A bit into the campaign, you finally get a jump pack, just like you did in Space Marine 1, and that adds another dimension of warfare, which does make you feel like a true angel of death. I've only played with it for one mission, and you didn't get it for the next mission, but just like in the first game, I'm assuming it comes up sometimes for some missions, and other missions you can have it again. But I really enjoyed the jump pack. The absolute weight and heft of when you land, smash into things, and you can even smash into things in the air, that surprised me. When you get into the thick of it and you're working your way through combat or doing combos, you're chaining the light attacks into heavy attacks, you're then parrying enemies, grabbing them out there, slamming them into the ground, and then using off a bit of bolters in the action, then ripping in execution. It makes you feel like a proper angel of death. It gives you that good dopamine hit. The execution's lovely. There seems to be 2 variants at least minimum for each creature that you execute, and it's a joy doing these executions, and I think they're actually quite important other than just for regenerating health. I think they give the player a breather. It allows you to stop and think about what your next move is doing. You're also invulnerable when you do the execution, which if you're being overwhelmed, it gives you just a moment to think about what you're going to do next when it finishes. This is just a bonus point. It's completely not really relevant, but I appreciated that when you pick up audio logs in the game, they play over the gameplay. You don't have to stop the game, go into a menu, play the audio log. No, you pick up the audio log, it plays automatically. If you don't care for the audio log, you just press skip and it goes away. About performance, I'm running every setting maxed out at 1440p and I'm getting around 90 FPS. But I do have a very high-end PC and I've got an RTX 4090 in there, so your mileage may vary. I don't have DLSS on. I don't have any artificial scaling increase. It is 1440p. 90 FPS, everything maxed out. I'm sure if you lower some of the sliders, it will do a bit better. I have encountered a couple of glitches. One of them was that the AI didn't want to resurrect me. It was on a jump pack level, so the terrain was separated by areas that you need to jump pack to, and I don't think the AI could figure out how to get to me. It was just standing around doing nothing, watching me bleed out. A small detail that I really appreciated is that the NPC soldiers that fight alongside you sometimes, they actually matter. Because I decided I encountered a set piece battle and I thought, okay, I'm just going to stand back and not do anything. Let's see what these soldiers do. And the soldiers are fighting, but once the Tyranids set upon them, they were completely wiped out almost instantly. I thought it was going to be a bit like Call of Duty where the soldiers are just magically immune, or a few of them might go down but the rest will continue standing up. Nope, the Tyranids just absolutely flattened them as soon as they got in melee range. I also noticed NPC weapon teams, and I really appreciated that because I saw the tabletop heavy weapons team, which I've built and painted in real life. I saw that in game exactly how I expected it. One guy on the MG and the other guy with the binoculars. Another heavy weapons team that I saw firing was a mortar. I don't know if they actually dealt damage, but they looked good. I'm going to keep my eyes open to see more details about the NPCs and the gameplay, but it boils down to I am really enjoying the game. I like the weight of the weapons, they feel hefty, they go pew pew, I shoot the enemies when they're far away, when they get close enough, I stop doing pew pew and I switch to melee, I slice and dice them up. I hope you really enjoyed the footage in the background. It's been an absolute joy. There's some stills in particular that I just grabbed some screenshots during cutscenes and I was like, wow, this looks fantastic. There may be some bits later on that might sour me, but for now, I'm perfectly happy. I'm enjoying playing a AAA 40k Space Marine game. Anyway, let me know what you think of Space Marine 2 down below.
Our blood and our searing wrath. Our very life force is a gift from him, and we shall use it to serve him only. For he is the light of mankind. His is the one truth in a galaxy of falsity and horror.